Hi everyone, in this video let's talk a little bit about what's behind this Ukrainian crisis. I'm talking about history and the cultural background that led to this conflict. Is it something new? Is it the result of some crazy ambition of some crazy dictator? Is it because of NATO? Is it little spoiler, I'm not going to answer to any of these questions directly in this video. I'm just going to give you some facts and then you're going to have your own opinion on this. So a first important thing to start off by is saying that Russia has always had culturally an important presence in Ukraine. How? Well, right after Chemnitsky in the 17th century, he was a Cossack, and he fought against the Polish, who tried to invade what now is Ukraine, and he won, and said to the Tsars of the Russian Empire, Russian Kingdom, we're gonna be loyal to you, right? And since then, apart from little periods of 2 or 3 years, like from 2007, from 1917 to 1920, Ukraine has always been under Russian control. So this is very important to remember. And the fact that, for example, the Crimea crisis that broke out in 2014 was not a new thing. You know, it's for that Chemnitsky, that loyalty that Ukraine showed in that moment, and when it became later on a Soviet Republic, that in 1954 the supreme leader of the Soviet Union, Khrushchev, gave Ukraine as a gift, a symbolic gift, because Ukraine was strictly under Soviet control. It was part of Russia, okay? But symbolically, the administration of Ukraine felt under, as a gift, the decision of Khrushchev felt under the responsibility of the Ukrainian government. Remember, that was directly controlled by the Soviets, Soviet Russia. But then, in 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed, it was a problem. Because Crimea, Ukraine later on gained independence, and Crimea was under the Ukrainian territory. And there's been more than one referendum before the 2014 one. Most of them have been used only as a demonstration to the central government of Kiev to remember that population is 80% Russian, 80% Russian speaking, so they wanted more autonomy. This is the background you need to understand what's going on. And there are many other things that I may even don't know, okay? It's normal. No one can know everything. Do your own research. But just don't trust those who say it's their fault or their fault. But if you think that this divide among Russians and Ukrainians, not only language divide but cultural divide, has been true for Crimea only, you're wrong. You're historically wrong. And you may think, oh, okay, we know of Kharkiv, Donetsk, and Lugansk, this Donbas Republic. Yes, but not only that. I suggest you, by the way, to read or to check the book that Samuel Huntington wrote, titled The Clash of Civilizations, because he had a interesting map on that, multiple interesting maps on that book. One of them was about the cultural divide, what he called the eastern frontier of the West, and a part of Ukraine was included in the West. Which part? A part that was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Yes, because a part of Ukraine, of what now is Ukraine, was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. very different culture, religion, and architecture, and everything. If you confront it with Russia and the Russian Empire. And another map, very relevant, something more modern, more contemporary. By the way, as Benedetto Croce, this Italian philosopher, said, history is contemporary. All history is contemporary. And to give you a perspective of how much things that may have happened 400 years ago still all relevant today in people's mind. Not because they just happened, but because they generated other facts, and many politicians may have reminded these things and these facts to people, so they matter. By the way, this election in 1994, right after the fall of the Soviet Union and therefore Ukrainian independence as an autonomous republic, there were two candidates. And one of them was Philo-Russian, and the other one was pro-Western integration. Imagine how different those candidates were just by knowing that the Philo-Russian candidate had to take lessons of Ukrainian language for that election. And he won, okay? He barely won with a tiny percentage of advantage of 52% of the votes. And if you look at the map that I'm gonna upload on this video, it's very important to notice how clearly the divide between Russian-speaking and pro-Russian people and pro-Western people it was clearly divided. The Russian candidate won all of the eastern part, all of the eastern districts, and the pro-America, pro-Western, and let's say nationalists, because at the time they were not as much pro-West as they were against Russia, okay? He won the Western part clearly, okay? And this divide remains now. And there are many other facts in Ukrainian history. It's long. History is long. It has many facts, and it's each fact that happens today as many multiple factors and events that happened before. And unless you take into consideration those facts, you may end up doing some superficial slogans like they have the fault, or they are the good ones, or they are the best one. Like this dichotomy of good and bad, it's very superficial. So guys, in this video I hope I gave you a little bit of background on this Ukrainian crisis. There's so many things to say. I hope that the book I suggested will give you some insights, that this video was interesting with the information I gave you. I hope it was clear enough. If something is not clear, write to me in the comments. I will reply for sure. Bye bye, and never be superficial.